Dear students, I hope you are well. Today we will continue the class. In our previous class, we are talking about complex and simple sentence. Today we will finish from complex to simple. I worked with certain conjunctions like when, who, which, okay, what. Today I start with that. In a sentence like this, you see in the board, on the board, you see the sentence, I know that she is a good girl. I know that she is a good girl. You see, the second sentence is, you know that I work in a coal factory. Third sentence is that he is a teacher is true. And the fourth and the last sentence is that he visited some foreign countries drew our attention. In all these sentences, you see the use of that. That has come after the verb as the object of the verb. I know that she is a good girl. Notice this sentence. I know that she is a good girl. Dear students, before changing this, I want to remind you one thing again, that why do we change sentences? Why do we transform from one shape to another shape, from one type of sentence to another type of sentence? What is the necessity? The necessity is that if you can change different sentences into different forms, you will be able to write very fluently, and you will have various choice, and you can write the appropriate way you need. So for your better writing, for your better understanding, it is necessary to learn this technique. Understand? Now see the sentence. I know that she is a good girl. Here I know is the main clause, and that she is a good girl, that is a subordinate clause. And usually we change this clause, subordinate clause, and here this is not subordinate adjective clause, rather this is subordinate noun clause. Why noun clause? This is acting as a noun. Suppose I know this or I know it. We could say, we could finish the sentence in this way. Okay, I know it. I know your name. I know you. In this way we could finish. Then what type of part of speech is it or you? I know you. This is either pronoun or noun. Okay. So this is a complete sentence. This is independent, and we have written a clause as the alternative to this one word, one noun. Noun and pronoun are the same in higher level. Whatever is pronoun has derived from noun. So noun and pronoun are regarded in the same way. So here that he is a good girl is just the substitute of it, alternative to it. That is why that she is a good girl is a noun clause. Why this is a clause? Clause because here is a conjunction, here is a subject, here is a finite verb. That is why this is a clause. However, our objective is to change this form in such a way that there will be only a finite verb or one finite verb and one subject in this sentence. So, our technique or our process will be to eliminate another subject, another verb. If we can do this, we will be successful to change it into a simple sentence. Okay, then what can we do? I know. I know. Okay, I know. We are not changing this. I know. Then I can change she. And if I eliminate this, we will not find she again. That is why we will change this into a possessive form. Why possessive form? Possessive form to make it completely a noun phrase. Actually, we are changing this noun clause into a noun phrase. So, what is the result? I know her. Then I will change is. I know her to be. This is a form. Or I know her being. But here to be will be better. I know her to be a good girl. I know her to be a good girl. So here finite is no more finite. This is infinitive to be. In this way, we have changed this finite into non-finite. And we have changed this subject into possessive form. Now, our sentence is, I know her to be a good girl. This is a simple sentence. Okay. The next sentence is, I know that I work, you know that I work in a coal factory. Structure is the same. This structure and that structure is quite the same. Then why have I brought this sentence before you? Because this was a be verb. And what should we do if we find other verbs like work or do or another type except be verb? That is why I have written this. You know that I work in a coal factory. Then certainly I will change this part. You know, then possessive form of I. What is possessive form of I? My. You know, my. I have changed this. Here, perhaps I have forgot. This is also the objective form, not possessive. She, her, her. She, her, her. This is the objective form of she here. The figure is the same. You will see the same figure with same spelling, but this is object of she. You know my working. Here this is the possessive form. Possessive form of I. You know my working. And you know when we use any possessive, we use ing form that is present present participle after possessive form. But when we want to use any infinitive, we use objective form. Okay. So this is object, this is possessive. However, you know my working. Here you cannot write you know my to work. It will not be correct form or any usual form. You know my working in a coal factory. So we have eliminated or changed. We have changed the subject. We have changed the finite verb work. Here work is working without any be verb, is working or are working. Okay. As it is without any auxiliary verb, this is not finite verb, rather this is present participle. So you know my working in a coal factory. So in this way we have changed this sentence. The next sentence, you will see that has been used before the sentence. This is a form, perhaps all of you don't know this form or are not acquainted with this form, the use of that he is a teacher is true, that he is a teacher. This is subordinate clause, subordinate noun clause, that he is a teacher is true, is true. Actually, this is true. What is this? This is the explanation that he is a teacher. This is the information, real information that he is a teacher. So instead of writing this is true, instead of writing this, I have written a clause that he is a teacher is true. Here we will change this part. So we will keep the main part is true, that is just the predicate, but subject is the subordinate clause. Here we will change this. So we will use the possessive form of he, that is his being, that is the form of be verb being, B-E-I-N-G, his being a teacher. His being a teacher is true. His being a teacher is true. Can you use to be here? You have used possessive form of the subject his. So here you cannot use to be form. You have to use just the present participle, his being, his being a teacher is true. So what is the subject here? A teacher. A teacher is true? No. Being a teacher? No. His being a teacher. That is right. This is the subject of this sentence. His being a teacher. And what type of phrase is this? This is a noun phrase. Noun phrase. You find here various words, and at the end of the word you find teacher. And this is the structure of a what? Of a noun phrase. So in this way we can change another sentence, and perhaps you will be able to change this. The sentence is that he visited some foreign countries, that he visited some foreign countries, that he visited some foreign countries drew our attention. We are always surprised with those people who are so much eager to go foreign countries, who often visit foreign countries. They are not foreigners, they are just people of our own country. But we always admire those people who has the ability to visit foreign countries, who has experienced so many countries, must be admired. Okay, because traveling is so much essential for every man or woman. However, that he visited, here you also find that clause as the subject of this sentence. What is the subject, main subject of this sentence? Main subject is that he visited some foreign countries. This is the subject. What is the verb? Finite verb, drew. And what is the object? Object is our attention. Our attention. So, in this sentence, we have subject as the clause, as the noun clause, that he visited some foreign countries, drew our attention. What drew our attention? That he visited some foreign countries. So, this is certainly the subject of this sentence. So, we find a clause, we find a subject in the form of a clause. However, we will change this and make the total sentence into a simple sentence. That he visited some foreign countries. So, that is totally unnecessary. So, we will change he into his possessive form, his visiting possessive form. So, we will certainly make this present participle. He is visiting some foreign countries. Foreign countries. Drew our attention. So this is the action. What is the action? He is visiting some foreign countries. Here you could change in another way. That is, you can make this actually this is like gerund. You can change this, his visit to. Okay. If you consider this as a gerund, then this is a noun. But there are there is another noun, some foreign countries. This is another noun. So you will need a preposition here. His visiting of some foreign countries. Okay. But if you consider this as a present participle, not necessary. He is visiting some foreign countries. And if you actually change this visited into a noun, that is visit. Visit is also noun. This is a verb, at the same time a noun. And if you write this in the form of a noun, then you will again need a preposition. Preposition, because we always need a preposition between two nouns. We always need a preposition between two nouns. So, if you make this a noun, you must use a preposition here. His visit to some foreign countries drew our attention. There will be no change afterwards, but change is here. So, how you can change is your own way. You should choose what way you like. Okay. Dear students, we have an experience that today especially that has been used as a that clause has been used as the subject of a sentence, and this is not just a determiner that or an indicator that this that. Okay, I know that, but you know that. This is not this that. Rather, we find this as a conjunction of a sentence, and just it has helped to build up a clause which has been used as a subject. So the next sentence or next thing, we will do something with though although. This is just the sentence of concession. That is, there is something, but despite having something, we have some type of compromise. These sentences are usually called sentence of concession. Clauses are called clause of concession. Though Somerset mom had no interest, he prepared to be a good listener. Actually, Somerset mom had no interest. That is why he should not have preparation to be a good listener. When we are good listener, we are good listeners when we have interest. But if I have no interest, why should we prepare, or why should I prepare to be a good listener? There is no reason. But despite this, despite having no interest, I prepared to be a good listener. So this is one type of concession. However, in this type of sentences, we usually bring in spite of or despite. In spite of or despite. You know, both are used. When we use in spite of, we use of, but we never use of after despite. Despite is a single word, and in spite of is a phrase, and there is a of after in spite. Actually, there are three words in spite of, but usually in spite of are written in a single word nowadays, and thereafter of, in spite of and despite. So this is a preposition, this is a prepositional phrase. So using this preposition or prepositional phrase, we change the sentence clause of concessions. Though Somerset mom had no interest. I am writing this. You know, Somerset mom is a storyteller, good storyteller, American storyteller, American writer, and one of his famous stories is the luncheon. The luncheon. In the story, we find him before a lady who is middle-aged, and Somerset mom fell in trap of this lady, and he had to spend much money for a luncheon for this lady guest. But actually he had little benefit or little enjoyment. Actually he had no enjoyment through having the luncheon with that lady. It was his bitter experience. And here we have two lines from his story. This is not direct, but this is the way he expressed. Actually, this cannot be quoted as his own line. Line has been changed. Though Somerset mom had no interest, he prepared to be a good listener. This can be pronounced as listener in poems. In poems, this is flexible. You can pronounce in this way. But if this is not a poem, you will say listener. However, though Somerset mom had no interest, he prepared to be a good listener. Why? Because of civility, because of gentlemanhood, because of his politeness, because of the tradition of that society. We will change. So, though will be eliminated, as this is a conjunction, then Somerset mom had no interest. So, we will change Somerset mom, and we find he, the same person. So, we will not write Somerset mom at the very beginning of the sentence. Rather, we will use he, and we will change this he into possessive form, his, having. The main form or base form of had is have, and when we will write in the form of present participle, we will write having. So, having no interest. And before that, because of this though or although, we will write in spite of or despite. So, I am using despite. The same thing. We could also write in spite of or despite. So, despite his having no interest, despite his having no interest, now I will use the name Somerset mom instead of he, Somerset mom. Somerset mom prepared. Prepared to be a good listener. So, in this part, he prepared to be a good listener, you will have no change. It will be the same. And we have changed though we have written a preposition. We have eliminated the conjunction. So, despite his having no interest, Somerset mom prepared to be a good listener. We could also write without have verb. If we eliminate this verb have here, you see the sentence is same. Despite his no interest, despite his no interest, Somerset mom prepared to be a good listener. Sentence is correct. Acha. Then we could also write this sentence, despite uninterested, despite being uninterested, being uninterested. In that case, the verb changes. So we should not do this. We should not do. Sometimes we can eliminate have verb totally if we want, if we wish. So both are correct. Despite his no interest or despite his having no interest. Okay? The matter is the same. The next sentence, the writer could not tell the lady anything although he lacked money. Although he lacked money. This is the sentence. You know, though and although are the same thing. Sometimes we use subordinate clause at the beginning of the sentence, sometimes we write at the end of that sentence. And when we use subordinate clause at the end of the sentence, we keep the conjunction at the middle of the sentence. Here, although, you see, although is that conjunction, and although he lacked money. So, although he lacked money, this is subordinate clause. The writer could not tell the lady anything although he lacked money. So, we will change although he lacked money. Sorry, I am interrupted. Dear students, we will change although he lacked money. So, what will we do? In spite of will be used instead of although. So, in spite of or despite, he, that will be changed into his, lacked, that is lacking, money will be the same, in spite of his lacking money. Okay. Now, see, what have we done? The writer could not tell the lady anything, in spite of his lacking money. This is one thing. Another thing you have noticed in our previous speech, a few minutes ago I have told it, you can also change the verb into a noun, that is lacked. Lacked. What is the noun of lacked? Lack. So, in spite of his lack, this is noun. And when we use noun, we have to use a preposition, lack of money. We have to write an appropriate preposition between two nouns. In spite of his lack of money or in spite of his lacking money. Okay. When you use present participle, you don't need any preposition in spite of his lacking money. And when you use a noun, you need a preposition before another noun. Okay. So you can change in any way you like. Okay, dear students, and thereafter we will learn how to change so that and so dot that. There are two things, so that and so dot that. You know, when we want to expose any purpose or aim, we use so that. That indicates our purpose. Read attentively so that you can pass. Behave well with other people so that you can get respect from them. In this way we use so that. And whenever you find any so that, this is very simple. You are to use only infinitive. Infinitive in place of the finite verb. You are to eliminate can, could. Usually can, could are associated with so that, and they will be eliminated, and only infinitive will be there. This is very, very simple. You see the sentence, many people go to the capital city so that they can find suitable jobs. Many people go to the capital city so that they can find suitable jobs. Thereafter, Sajjad came near a river so that he could feed his cattle. The laborer was so tired that, this is the form of so that. But before this we find two sentences. So we will change the sentence. Many people go to the capital city Many people go to the capital city so that they can find good jobs. That is actually Dhaka, you know. Many people go to Dhaka so that they can find suitable jobs, as Dhaka is the capital city of Bangladesh. Here, what is the subordinate clause? Subordinate clause is so that they can find good jobs. This is subordinate clause. And we will change this part. How? We will use infinitive verb. So, what should we do? Very simple. Many people go to the capital city to. This so that will be eliminated, and you find they actually are many people. So this will not be repeated. Not necessary, and can will be eliminated. I have told you already. To find. So that they can find has been changed into to find good jobs. So many people is the subject. Many people go to the capital city to find good jobs. Okay. This also indicates purpose. Infinitive indicates purpose. So purpose is to find good jobs. So this is very easy. You see, changing a sentence with so that is very easy. Another example. Sajjad came near a river. Sajjad here perhaps a cowboy. River so that he can he could not can, this is past tense, so that he could feed his cattle. Feed water perhaps there are grass on the bank of the river and there is water at the bed of the river. However, both purposes will be served. Sajjad came near a river so that he could feed his cattle. Cattle. T-T-L-E, cattle. So, we are going to change the subordinate part so that he could feed his cattle. And certainly, you know, so that will be eliminated and he, that is Sajjad, will also be eliminated. Could is necessarily eliminated. And always in case of can, could you find the base form? Here the base form of the verb is feed. We are only to put an infinitive before the word feed, to feed. So Sajjad came near a river to feed his cattle. Okay, problem is solved. Then another type of thing, that is so that. So dot that. Okay, when we want to use any extremity of anything, we use so dot that. So dot that. Here we have a cause and effect. We usually write the cause after so. This is actually one type of adjective. We use an adjective in the extreme form. Thereafter we find the result after that. That is, he is so haughty that he cannot behave politely. He cannot behave politely. So, what is the result of his haughtiness? The result is he cannot behave politely. So, in this way, we have both cause and effect in a sentence when we use so dot that. Here the sentence is, the laborer was so tired that. The laborer was so tired that. So tired that he could not bear. He could not bear the load anymore. He could not bear the load anymore. So, you find the use of so. Thereafter we find the word adjective tired. This is actually past participle of tire, tired. And that participle has been used here as an adjective, as a modifier. So tired that, we find that. So and that are separate. And after that we have the result caused from that adjective. So tired that. What is the result of his tiredness? Result is he could not bear the load anymore. The laborer was tired, he was extremely tired, so much tired, very much tired. And because of his tiredness, he could not bear the load anymore. And what will we do here? The laborer was so tired. In this case, we usually use to. After to, we usually use that adjective. And we use an infinitive afterwards. In case of so that, you have seen infinitive. Here also you will have an infinitive after to and without negative. This type of infinitive actually indicates negative meaning. So we need not use not or no here. However, see what we are going to do. The laborer was too tired. So tired, that is too tired to bear the load anymore. You see, this is too. So tired, too tired. Thereafter, that has been eliminated. He has been eliminated as the subject is the same. He, what do you find he? The laborer. So there is no necessity of mentioning this again. Could not will be eliminated. I have told you when we use an infinitive after to, T-O-O, the negative verb, the infinitive verb is meant negative. That is why we need not use any not here. This is naturally negative. Too tired to bear the load. Okay, we have only used a to here, infinitive to, infinitive. So the laborer was so tired to bear the load anymore. The meaning is the same. The load was so much and the laborer could not bear the load because he was so much tired. Now, if we have different type of subject in this sentence, we cannot eliminate any subject. Suppose the laborer and the he are different. If this happens here, what will you do? If they are different, in this case, we keep both subjects and we use the next subject with for. We use a for before the second subject and we change the second subject into an object. That is for him, we will say, he, we will say for him. If there is she, I will say for her. If there is any noun, suppose if there is Salman, subject and object are the same in case of any noun, proper noun. And in that case, we will say for Salman. For Salman, there will be no change in case of proper noun. But when we have pronoun, we are to use objective form of that pronoun. Okay, the next sentence will be the example. In the next sentence, we will find this and we will solve the next sentence too. The problem is so critical that the problem is so critical that I cannot solve it. I cannot solve. I have not that ability to solve the problem. The problem is very critical. You see the same structure, so and that. Okay, so that. So critical that. So adjective that. Thereafter a clause. And here the difference lies between this sentence and the previous sentence is that in our previous sentence, two subjects are the same, but here we have different subjects. The first subject is the problem and the second subject is I. So they are not the same. And when we find this, we use a for before the second subject and we use the objective form of this second subject, and the next is the same, no problem. So what is the result here? The problem is the problem is too critical for me. Understand? Here you see, too critical for me to solve. Here you need not mention this it. Why? It is also here the problem. So it will also be eliminated. It should not be mentioned for the second time. We know what to solve, where to solve the problem. So the problem is too critical for me to solve. This is correct. This is the precise form, right form. Okay. So dear students, we have another thing today and we will end this after working with another conjunction, that is if. If is used in conditional sentences. These sentences are just conditional. That is, we have a condition. If you try utmost to your strength, you can expect success. If you help me, I will help you. Such type of thing. If you neglect your duties, you will be neglected afterwards. If you do not love singing, you cannot be a good singer. So what do we do when there is if in our complex sentences? We have to use certainly a preposition or prepositional phrase instead of if, and we have to change the subordinate clause at the same time. when there is if in a complex sentence. You know, if is used both in simple sentence and complex sentence. When we express our desire, what is impossible, which is impossible, we use if. If I were a king, if I were a bird. This is a simple sentence and if is used, and this expresses our desires, our cravings of heart. And when we speak in this way, if you try utmost to your strength, you can expect success. This is complex sentence. So when we use if in a complex sentence and we want to change this into a simple sentence, we use usually by or without or in case of as the preposition. You see, in case of, actually if, in case means if, and in case of, that is the changed form of in case. This is a prepositional phrase. As you see, because and because of. Because of is conjunction, but because of is prepositional phrase. However, we will change according to our necessity. If the thing is positive, we use by. If it is negative, we use without. And sometimes we need in case of, when we don't find the proper meaning with by or without. So write the first sentence. If you try utmost, that is, you try so much with your strength, utmost to your strength, you can expect success. You can expect success. What is the subordinate clause? Subordinate clause is if you try utmost to your strength. And main clause, you can expect success. So there will be no change in the main clause. You can expect success. You will change here. So instead of if, we will use either by or without. Is this negative or affirmative? If it is affirmative, we usually use by. So we have to use our strength. And if we use our strength, we can expect success. So we will use by. By trying. By trying utmost to your strength, you can expect success. By trying utmost to your strength, you can expect success. If you use without, the thing will be illogical. The statement will be illogical. So we cannot use without here. But another thing, if you eliminate this preposition by, the meaning will be the same. Trying utmost to your strength, you can expect success. That will also be a natural sentence and correct sentence. But if you use by, this will be more impressive. More impressive. So both are correct here. However, the next sentence, if you neglect your duties, if you neglect your duties, if you neglect your duties, you will be neglected afterwards. You will be neglected afterwards. Here, where will we change? In the subordinate clause, and this is if you neglect your duties. So what preposition, which preposition will use? By or without, or in case of? By neglecting your duties, you will be neglected afterwards. Illogical. Without neglecting your duties, you will be this is more illogical. In case of your neglecting your duties, you will be neglected afterwards. That is right. And you can also say because of your neglecting duties, you will be neglected after. This is also correct. So in case of or because of here is more appropriate. So you can write in case of you or your in case of your neglecting your duties. I think here to your. So it is better to eliminate one your. In case of neglecting your duties. Okay, this will be more smart. It will be better. We should not always follow the grammar to make our sentences illogical or rough. We will be careful that our meaning comes intact and at the same time they are beautiful to look at. In case of neglecting your duties, you will be neglected afterwards. Okay. In this way, we can change, and only one sentence is next to finish our lecture. That is, it will be the example of without. If you do not love singing, if you do not love singing, if you do not love singing, you cannot be a good listener. You can not be a good singer. You cannot be a good singer. Okay. You cannot be a good singer if you don't love singing. So, you certainly know this is subordinate clause, and here what is the matter? We have to change the subject and verb, and we find the negative form of the verb. Do not love, do not love. So if there is anything negative, we use without. Without. So without, this is simple. We are changing into simple. Without loving singing. Without loving singing, you cannot be a good singer. This is also true with other things too. If you don't love English, you cannot learn English. This is also true. Without loving singing, you cannot be a good singer. Here, if you use by loving singing, inappropriate. In case of your loving, inappropriate. Okay. In case of your not loving, that will be appropriate. In case of not loving singing. So the precise form is without. This is better here. Without loving singing, you cannot be a good singer. So we have somehow finished changing from complex to simple. Dear students, in this way you have to practice, and in our next class we will see how we can change compound sentences into simple sentence. That will be seen in our next class. So see you in the next time. So thank you very much.